We continue to better understand the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017 has been put out. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had different persons come here to explain the law to us better, and at the end we all discovered that the law is meant to help facilitate the dispensation of justice. And again, I want to say welcome to Wheel of Justice. The program comes your way every Tuesday from 3:30 p.m. My name is Ifani Awa. Don't forget, this program is brought to you by the Acjl State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, PRAWA, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and Abia State Justice Reform Team. And on this week's edition of Wheel of Justice, we're talking about liaison between the magistracy and the police and every detention agency with respect to detain suspects based on sections 33 and 34 of the Acjl 2017. And to discuss this with me this week, I've got His Worship Onwutuebe Madu, who is the Assistant Coordinator, Abia State Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
Right, we'll come back, we'll start discussing this, and then we'll better understand this section of the law. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Wheel of Justice, and just like I said earlier, I've got His Worship Onwutuebe Madu, who is the Assistant Coordinator of the State Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee. We're talking about liaison between the magistracy and the police and every detention agency with respect to detain suspects based on sections 33 and 34 of the Acjl 2017. Before we go on, I would also love to announce the presence of Kelechi Imo, who is representing PRAWA right here. It's always good to have you here as the observer team. All right, so let us go straight up. Let us first of all understand this section of the law. That will be the first thing we'll do. Let's understand the section of the law, and then I will take it from there.
Okay. What we are talking about is within the confines of sections 33 and 34 of the Acjl of Abia State 2017. The summary is that officers in charge of the police stations and other agencies authorized to make arrests are to, on the last day of the last working day of every month, make reports of arrests they made without warrant, specifically without warrant, to the nearest magistrate. And in the report, there are certain things that should be found in it. That is the alleged offense, the date and circumstances of his arrest. There's the particulars of the person who was arrested, which includes his full name, occupation, residential address, and for the purposes of his identification, his height, his photograph and full fingerprint impression, and other things that should help identify this person specifically. And this detail should be gotten from the suspect within 48 hours of his arrest. It must be done within 48 hours. And this report, to when given to the magistrate of that division, he should make an onward report to the chairman of the Administration of Criminal Justice Committee, who is also the Honorable Chief Justice of the Abia State, and then from his office to the office of the Attorney General. And when it gets to the office of the Attorney General, it is proper. I think it's novel, and some of these associations do not know. People like the Human Rights Commission, the Legal Aid, you need not wait for these cases to come to you. You have every right to walk into the office of the Attorney General and make demands of such reports, so that you know who to work with and who to defend, especially those who can't defend themselves for possible reason of finance, most especially. And then when there is no report of such, the magistrates are to do this themselves. And we wonder how should they do it by themselves. The next session provides guidelines. It says that the chief magistrate of every magisterial division is, or where there are no chief magistrates, any magistrate of any cadre, as long as you're being designated by the Honorable Chief Justice, you're to go to these centers like the police station or your agencies authorized to make arrest and get details of those who they have arrested. And then part of the things you are to ask for and call for is you should inspect the record of arrest and then direct for arraignment of suspects where is necessary. Grant bail where such a person hasn't been granted bail, as long as it's within your jurisdiction. Yes, and then such officers are to accord us cooperation, because we've noticed over time, the little times we've tried, they took it as a private venture.
I'm sorry, when you say us, let's be clear on who us.
The magistrates who have already started this, and the little times we tried, either that the DPO will say he's not around, and even if the head of an agency isn't around, there is hierarchy. If there is somebody that should attend to us, and this document should be made available. It's almost a public document. It's not a private venture. So if you arrest somebody and somebody comes, it shouldn't be something that we should give you prior notice. You should always be ready to accord us compliance and work with us. They should provide. There are certain things they should provide for us. These are the record, like they should give us the record of arrest and all the things that are needed, the full record of everything that they've done in respect of the people they have arrested without warrant. And it's also said that where you do not cooperate with us, it is a criminal offense. Regardless of the fact that you're a police officer, it is a criminal offense if you do not cooperate with us on our visit. Okay,
now let's come from the point of a layman. I'm going to go back. We're talking about arrest without warrant.
Yes. And
an average person might think that every arrest should be done with a warrant. And sometimes you see the police arrest someone and they're asking, where is your warrant of arrest? So on what conditions can an arrest be made without an arrest warrant?
Okay. Basically, like he said, arrest must be done with a warrant signed either by a judge or a magistrate. Within the state or within the jurisdiction, depending. But there are exceptional circumstances where a police officer or these agencies, like the ICPC, the EFCC, where before them they see a crime going on, or somebody when someone is committing an offense before them, they have the right to arrest such a person. Or where such an activity is going on and they see someone absconding or running away, they have a right to get the person arrested. Or even where you have been arrested lawfully with a warrant and then you are abscond illegally, you haven't been granted bail and you find your way out of where you were detained, they have a right to arrest you again, rearrest you without a warrant. Those are the conditions.
Okay. Now, what if in a position where, because I'm trying to work with what we have in society right now, where police officers see someone dressed in a certain way and they suspect something, and then they take the person behind bars. Is that also allowed?
Now, the issue of it deals towards the SARS thing.
Okay.
Dressing. Anything presumed to be illegal. The thing is that we have abused it. That I wouldn't want to call names, but they know themselves. They have abused that idea of arresting without a warrant. If, for instance, you presume that somebody is in possession of a phone not belonging to him, or you presume that he ought not to own a phone as big as that, and then you arrest him, I do not know. Make inquiries. Find out, is he the owner of the phone, or why is he dressed that way? You shouldn't use it against majorly the youth. I am speaking for the youth, and I think I'm considered to be called the youth at the moment. So
yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Yes. So when these people, you arrest for a good cause, not for things that think that are personal to you. That somebody is doing well at the age of 23, It's not an offense because you never did well at that age. I'm sorry to say this, but then when you see somebody of that nature dressed in the name of he dressed inappropriately, let your arrest be confined. Let it surround with the confines of the law. Let it be something within the law. Don't arrest out of that you just want to get someone arrested or get at somebody.
Now let's go to the point where the arrest has been made, and you've talked about what should happen after that arrest has been made. Now, first of all, how does bail apply in this case after the person has been arrested without warrant? What happens? So how does bail apply now?
Now we keep saying it. Bail is free and ought to be free. Why I said ought to be is because I think bail isn't free at the moment, but under the law, bail is free, and such a person should be granted bail as long as it has nothing to do with capital offense. When it's a non-capital offense, the person ought to be granted bail within 24 hours, except where there are exceptional circumstances where such a person can be granted bail within 24 hours. 48 hours suffices for a police bail, and then if there is need for you to charge such a person, you should. But there are situations where they have seen there are some certain persons who are now known to be committing certain crimes. When you get such a person, it wouldn't be in the favor of the society for you to grant such a person bail. If you have good reason to detain such a person pending when he's arraigned in court, it is justifiable. But the issue is that there has been abuse in all these conditions where people are detained for no just cause, and then they are not even arraigned, they are left there. That is why checkmating this thing, that is where the magistrates come in. Constant inspection of this detention centers will help us checkmate the activity or the norm of getting someone arrested and then not proceeding to do that which is expected of you to do.
Okay, now we're talking about the liaison between the magistracy and every detention agency, and that includes the police, ICPC, EFCC, or any other agency that has a power to arrest an individual. And it seems the police, not what is in the law, but what we see happen, seems the police has more power in this case, because if the magistrates go on there to demand that so thing be done and the police should release the person, maybe we wouldn't be seeing the police or other agencies holding on to a suspect longer than necessary. So in the past, has there been any case where an officer has been arrested or maybe prosecuted for this particular thing?
None within my knowledge.
Okay.
If there is, I wouldn't know, but none within my knowledge. That is why the law has come in force for them. Then the issue I also have is the disciplinary committee coming from their own force.
Okay.
I wish they take it up as it has been written, because we really cannot do much about that.
Sorry, who is the disciplinary committee?
Now, the last section says that where you do not comply with us, that disciplinary action should be taken based on this section, based on the law governing a particular agency. I just wish and I pray and I'm appealing to such agencies authorized to arrest that where you have your officer or your worker found wanting as regards what we are talking about today, that you take it up and then discipline such a person so that the society will be a better place for everyone.
All right, you're still listening to Wheel of Justice, and we're talking about liaison between the magistracy and the police or every detention agency with respect to detained suspects based on sections 34 and 34 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017. And I was speaking with His Worship Onwutuebe Madu, who is the Assistant Coordinator, Abia State Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee. We'll take a very short break. When we'll come back, we'll talk about the magistrate visiting the detention centers and also the role they play in making sure that this law is put into effect in these areas, and also we'll take your calls just in case you have any. Stay tuned. This is still Wheel of Justice. Welcome back, still Will of Justice, and it is brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, PRAWA, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and Abia State Justice Reform Team. We're talking about liaison between the magistracy and the police and every detention agency with respect to detain suspects based on Section 33 and 34 of the Acjl 2017. I have to speak with His Worship Onwutuebe Mado, who is the Assistant Coordinator, Abia State Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee. And just in case you have a question to ask pertaining to this, we'll talk about the roles the magistrate plays and also the cooperation they have with this arresting agents when it comes to detention. If you want to ask a question, you can call 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949, or you can send a text message to 0906 510 8289. All right, now let's talk about the role played by the magistrate, because let me just read Section 34 right now. It states that the chief magistrate, or where there is no chief magistrate within the police division, any magistrate that designated by the chief judge for that purpose shall at least every month conduct an inspection of police station or other places of detention within his territorial jurisdiction other than the prison. So it means it's not just confined to the prison, even cells.
Other than the prison, it means excluding the prison, because when you're detained at the prison, it means that somehow your case has gotten to the court. The police can't arrest you and take you to the prisons. That is the correctional service.
Okay.
So it means that for you to be at the correctional service, even though you have overstayed there, it means that somehow your case has come to court, either for arraignment and something new went wrong.
Okay. Now, before we move on, we seem to have a caller. Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, it seems you're going to have to call back 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. The other part of this law states that during a visit, the magistrate may call for and inspect the record of arrest, direct the arraignment of a suspect. Now, there was a workshop last week, and in that workshop, I discovered that we have laws put in place, especially with this Acjl, that are meant to correct certain things and also bring about the speedy dispensation of justice. But the issue we have are some of the players who sometimes tend to drag this and make it harder for justice to be dispensed. Now, what has been done more, because you said that it's a criminal offense for a police officer or the police or any other agency to hold back some of this records information. So what can be done to make sure that this is followed?
It should cut across everybody. It's just not one person thing, especially those at the helm of affairs. They should take it as a person. If they take it as their personal venture, I think we'll go a long way in correcting a lot of things. It starts from the grassroots. Let us keep enlightening. If you are the helm of affairs, keep enlightening those below you at the office, and then take it out of the society. Let people get to know. It borders more on enlightenment, just like what we are doing in the studio now. Okay.
All right, let's take this call. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Liason. I am calling from.
All right, go on.
Okay. I have. Good afternoon, my analyst.
Sorry, could you speak up a little bit more so we can hear you?
Good afternoon, my analyst in the house.
All right, good afternoon. He's saying good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, go on. Please ask your question.
Please, I have a little question.
Okay.
In Nigeria, we say bail is free. But according to our guest in the studio, she said, even though she knows that today bail is no longer free in Nigeria. So what exactly are they doing to curtail that, to stop that?
Okay.
And again, saying the fact that there are some people that it falls on their shoulders to check what our police officers are doing in the station as regards arrest. And they have the right to go and check who is arrested, who is offense, and all that. Now, there are some people who are in the prison today without any offense. So, does it mean that these people no longer check? Because if anybody is checking, these people should be seen that they have not committed any crime or that they have committed crime, but they
Okay,
are...
please round up because of time. Round off.
Okay, so at least I'm not with them.
All right, thank you very much. I think you got his question. He had two questions. He talked about the issue of bail, and also talked about if the magistrates are doing what they should by going to this, holding cells and checking out the records.
Now, I will start with the issue of bail, where is basically the issue of the police, and we can't say it's just for them alone. But we really can't stop it almost abruptly, like immediately, but we can try by enlightening them that bail is actually free and they should abide by it. And then where we come for these inspections and then somebody detained is saying, somebody arrested, not detained, somebody arrested is saying that why he hasn't been asked to go is because he was asked to get a certain amount of money. It is our duty to grant him bail. That is what the law says. We can grant him bail based on our jurisdiction.
Okay.
And in that way, by once this inspection of a thing becomes the norm and becomes regular, I think the issue of granting bail and being free, all those things will reduce, knowing that somebody is coming to check on them, and knowing that they can't do this and go scot-free.
All right. Now let's talk about the angle of the legal aid too, where the legal aid always has to come in. And I also know that there's a part of this law where that states that each police station would have a police officer who I think who's a lawyer.
Yes.
Who is a lawyer also.
Yes.
So how do these two work together?
Okay. Now for the legal aid is basically for they are under a paid employment to defend those who cannot finance their cases, and it means that while doing that, they shouldn't collect money from this because they do not have.
Okay.
Then the other issue I can't remember again.
The police station having a police office, having a lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's in their new law. That's the Police Act of 2020.
Okay.
That is only a legal officer who is a police officer that should be in court, and it's also in the Acjl and Acjl. Now the issue is that they do not even have enough legal officers. We have come in now to do it. We have the Honorable Justice, Chief Justice of Abia State, has also asked them that they should liaise with councils from Ministry of Justice, so that where you do not have enough, liaise with these people from Ministry of Justice, let them do your cases. So I don't know how far they have cooperated with us, but with time, and if you continue asking them to leave the court, like if I have a police officer who is before me trying to defend the case and is not a legal maybe when we ask them to go back a couple of times, they will sit up. And this is also reaching out to the Commissioner of Police to do the needful, so that we can also do let there be smooth run in this whole thing. Because the issue is where we ask you to go back, it is not hitting the police officer, but for the person who is detained. So we are also urging the Commissioner of Police at this juncture to do the needful. Either at the hierarchy, try and make sure that you employ more legal officers, or where there is no, liaise with those in the Ministry of Justice. All
right, before we go, because you're almost out of time, in just 30 minutes, what has been the level of cooperation between the judiciary and arresting agencies? With this law being made, has there been an increased cooperation?
There has been, because without them,
in terms of detention, in the detention cases,
in terms of this, I wouldn't say we are not cooperating. We are cooperating because every day we are making progress.
Okay.
Because generally, 70% of the work the magistracy and the judiciary is 70% of the work is just between us and these agencies.
Okay.
Without them, we purely can't move forward. We are making progress. Hopefully, we'll get there.
All right, thank you very much for coming. And I was speaking with His Worship Onwutuebe Madu, who is Assistant Coordinator at the Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee. And we're talking about liaison between the magistracy and the police and every detention agency with respect to detained suspect based on Section 33 and 34 of the Acjl 2017. Don't forget, this is Wheel of Justice, comes your way Tuesdays from 3:30 p.m. It is brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Power, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform Team. My name is Ifeanyi Awa. Till next week, please do stay safe, and a Merry Christmas in advance to you. Cheers.